KristenKellyTV. I have a really big announcement. I'm pregnant. I actually did not know that I was pregnant until I was over 4 months pregnant. So, like the TV show, I didn't know I was pregnant. I didn't know I was pregnant. So I'm gonna do a story time for you guys about how I found out that I was pregnant. If you'd like to watch this, please continue. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave me a like, and I'm also gonna do a few other videos. I posted a picture on Instagram and asked if you guys had any questions, and you guys had a lot of questions. I think there was like, something like maybe 100 questions. So I'm gonna do maybe 2 or 3 Q&As, but I'll try to make them as like fast as possible. But yeah, if you'd like to watch this video, please continue. First of all, I'm so excited that I'm gonna be a mama. You guys wanna see my tummy? That's kind of why I'm wearing a bra. From day one, Chris and I were kind of like, well, if we get pregnant, we get pregnant. If we don't get pregnant, we don't get pregnant. We really started trying to have a baby after we were already pregnant, but we didn't know we were pregnant. So we had talked about like really like sitting down and calculating. We were calculating my period. Actually, Chris was doing it on his phone. We were calculating my period. We were calculating like when I was ovulating, so we could make sure that we were like really amping up the sex around that time so we could definitely have a baby. And we were really trying. I actually made a few videos about how we were trying to get pregnant, and when I made those videos, I was actually already pregnant, but I didn't know I was pregnant. So when I was about 4 months pregnant, I had made the videos about how Chris and I were like really trying to start having a baby. Then a few weeks later, I really felt nauseous. There was 1 week that I felt like I was on a boat. So Chris has a 16-year-old son, so I have a stepson, yay. So I was talking to his son and I was like, I think I'm pregnant because I feel so nauseous. Like, we see his son probably like 3-4 times a week. So we were like at dinner and I was talking to his son and I was like, I really think I'm pregnant or something's really wrong with me. And I had to go sit in the car. I was like, I feel so nauseous. I need to go sit in the car. So this 1 week, I really felt nauseous, but it was like a different type of nauseous. Like I felt like I was on a boat. If you've ever been on a cruise or like any type of boat, I felt like I was on a boat. So I was at lunch at school and I ordered a bunch of birth tests, pregnancy, the baby's taking my brain, pregnancy tests. I ordered a bunch of pregnancy tests. So if you ever take a pregnancy tests are like $20 for like 1 or 2. So on Amazon for $8, they had this big kit of, I think it was 50 for $8. So I was on Amazon buying a bunch of stuff and I saw that and I was like, oh, I'll just get that. I mean, you know, like 50 tests and we're trying to get pregnant anyway. So I figured I could just hold on to these tests anyway. So I will have backups for like, you know, trying later. So I ordered the tests and then the next day I got my period, or I thought I got my period. So I was bloated, I had cramps. I used, I think 3 tampons, like throughout, like I thought I had my period. So, like a little bit after that, the timeline is kind of messed up because honestly, I really don't know. I don't even know how long after that, maybe like 2 weeks later or something. Chris was sleeping and I was just like watching TV and I went into the bathroom and I looked over and I saw the test. And note, when I was buying these tests, you know how on Amazon people are like, oh, this works, this doesn't work, like their reviews. There was a bunch of people that said like, oh, these tests don't work. It said I was pregnant and I wasn't, or it gave me a false positive or a false negative. So there were people that think they worked, okay. So I'm sitting there and I'm kind of just like half asleep. I think I had taken a Xanax or something, or I don't even know, maybe some melatonin. So I look over and I see the test and I'm like, oh, but at this point, I'm thinking there's no way I could be pregnant because I just had my period. So I do the test and 2 lines mean pregnant, 1 line is not pregnant. So I look at it and it's 2 lines, and I went, oh, that's so funny that this test is broken. So I did another one, 2 lines, and still I'm like, that is so funny that these tests are both broken. So I did a 3rd one, and then the 3rd one immediately, and these were not like it was taking a few minutes to develop. No, these were immediately showing me the 2 lines. So at this point I was like, that's weird. So I did a 4th one, and when I did the 4th test, 2 lines, I looked at it and I was like, oh, wow, this is really crazy. All of these tests have to be broken because I just had my period. Or maybe I'm pregnant. So I wake Chris up and I made him pee in a cup. And I tested his pee, and his pee said he was not pregnant. So I was like, maybe all of these tests are just wrong. It was so weird because I've never been pregnant before. So even when I was like looking at these tests, and also I didn't realize how accurate at-home tests were, because when I went to the doctor was like, because I was like, can you give me a test? Because even when I went to the doctor, I like really did not believe that I was pregnant. And the doctor was like, it's the same test you do at home. And I was like, oh, okay. So I guess they do the same like pee test at home. So I woke Chris up, I tested Chris's pee, and then I was like, oh my God, I think we're pregnant. And Chris is like, kind of like, well, I mean, yeah, like, what did you expect? This is what we wanted and we were trying for. And I know that, but at the same time, it was like, I did not realize how quickly, and also at this point, let me interject that I thought that we had just gotten pregnant, because I'm an idiot and I don't know anything. So Chris and I literally like looked down at the calendar and we were like, okay, well, we thought we had our period at this point. Couldn't have, because we're pregnant. So it had to be this date. So we're thinking like, I don't know in my mind why, but I'm thinking, okay, so this has to be like when we got pregnant. So we're thinking the baby must be 5 weeks old. So we really don't know what to do. I call my gynecologist. My gynecologist doesn't return my call. I call like every day, like 3 times. Finally, they return my call. Oh, we don't do babies anymore. I'm like, okay, great. Who do I call? So then I called my nurse practitioner. Oh, we don't do anything. The only thing we'd be able to do is test to make sure you're actually pregnant. So I'm like, oh, okay. So then I didn't even know what to do. So I called birthing center where they have like midwives and stuff. And they're like, oh, we're actually doing a meet and greet with the midwives like next week. So come to that. So we came to that, and they're like, oh, if we have time, we can perform an exam after. So it was great. So we go to that, and there's like women with big stomachs. Actually, my stomach probably looks like theirs now, but there's women with these big stomachs, and they're all like, they know exactly when they're having their baby, and they know everything. And Chris and I were just like, we just found out we were pregnant. We didn't really know anything. We haven't even seen a doctor. So we went to the midwife thing. The like furniture was so gross. It was so old. Everything just was like old and dusty. And I was like, oh, like, and someone was like having a baby in the back room. It just seemed very weird. So I called my insurance company, and my insurance company said, you can go to this hospital. It's actually the same hospital that I was born at, which is crazy. So I was like, okay, well, we'll just go there to like, you know, check up on the baby that's 5 weeks old. In my head, still thinking this baby is 5 weeks old. So we get to the doctor, we do the appointment, but she doesn't have time for the physical examination. So she says, okay, well, I don't have time for the physical examination. You'll have to come back next week for that. Or 2 weeks. We have plenty of time till the baby comes. And, and you'll need to get a ultrasound because you don't know exactly when the baby's due. And I'm like, okay, great. And she's like, yeah, they normally take like a week or 2 to get the ultrasound. And I was like, oh, there's no appointments normally in the day. And she goes, no. So I leave, and the lady, but it was weird because I'm very lucky. Like, I'm really lucky. I'm lucky when things shouldn't even go my way. So I go to check out, and the lady's like, oh, there's actually an appointment at ultrasound today if you want to go. And I'm like, okay, great. So I'm like, do it. So we go down to ultrasound, and they start doing the ultrasound, and the girl goes, how many weeks do you think you are? And because the chart said like 5 weeks, and I was like, oh, I think like 5. And she looks and she says, oh, no, you're further along than that. And Chris goes, oh, what, 8 weeks? Because Chris kind of thought it was 8 weeks. And she goes, no. And I've been looking at pictures on like these apps, and on the apps, the baby looked like the size of a grain. Like I think it was supposed to be the size of like a lentil. And she's like, no. Wow, I think you might be 16 weeks along. And then she's like, well, let me go get the doctor. So the doctor comes, and the doctor is like, no, you're about 18 weeks along, which is almost 5 months. And Chris, I just look at Chris and I'm laughing. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is so funny that we've been pregnant for so long and we didn't know. And Chris's eyes are watering. And I'm like, are you okay? But we live in a 1-bedroom apartment. Like, because we were planning on like buying a house, and we were planning on like all of these things. And Chris is like, we are gonna have the baby and be living in a 1-bedroom apartment. And our lease is over in January. We're paying $24.50 and then $150 for each car a month in this place. It doesn't include utilities, doesn't include anything. It's like a luxury building. So Chris is like, oh my God. He's like, we're having the baby in December. Well, now we find out that we're having the baby in December, or he's like calculating this. And we're moving out in January, where originally we were like, oh, we'll be having the baby a few months after we've moved into a new place. No. We're gonna be having the baby and moving at the same time. And we don't know where we're moving to, so yay. But me, happy-go-lucky, I'm like, whatever, this is fine. But Chris is like, eyes are watering. He's like, oh my God, this is happening so fast. And I'm like laughing. I'm like, oh my God, because the baby's huge. Like, they have like the ultrasound screen, and the baby is gigantic. And in my mind, I was thinking the baby's gonna be like this, and like a little like tadpole. No. The baby was like this big, like developed, like hands, head, like he's writing a novel or something. Like I'm like, oh my God, this is like a real baby. And still, it was funny because when she's doing it, I was like, are you sure that that's my baby inside me? Because still, like my stomach was 100% flat. I never threw up. I did not have any, you know, people are like, oh, like I had this and I had this and this was different. I had nothing. I didn't get sick. I didn't feel different. I didn't gain weight. I literally felt fine. Like nothing felt different about me. And I'm pretty in tune with my body, and I felt zero difference. So, yeah. So the girl told us, so we leave, and we're like, oh my God, this is crazy. However, at this point, we had not told anyone, because we had talked about it and we were like, okay, well, we're not gonna tell anybody, like my family, your family, anyone, until we've been pregnant for at least 12 weeks, because that's your first trimester. So I was like, first trimester, we will not tell anyone, because we want to make sure that the baby is healthy before we tell people, because you know, you could have a miscarriage or something. Well, now we're like, well, the baby's gonna come in a few months, and we haven't told anybody because we didn't know. So it's like, it went from like, oh, we have all of this time, all this leisurely time, to, oh my God, we just like went through half of this pregnancy and didn't know. So we told my parents first, because I knew my parents would have the hardest time with it, because Chris and I are not married, even though we are. Chris is 34, I'm 32. Like, even though we know we don't need our parents, you know, like consent or permission or anything, we still knew that we would tell my parents first, just get it out of the way. So we told my parents, and that did not go over like super well. My mom kind of had like a very weird reaction to it. My mother is very Catholic and very old school, so I knew she would be upset that we were not married. However, when she found out that we had planned this baby, because at first she was like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened, and she thought that it was an accident. And I think she was more understanding when she thought it was an accident. But then when I was like, yeah, and then when I explained to her that we had planned this pregnancy, she kind of lost her mind a little and acted like I was 15. She was like, you're throwing your whole life away. Oh my God, your whole life, you're throwing it away. And I was like, my whole life throwing away? What? Like, I'm in my 30s and this is what I want. And it was just so funny because my mom, she said, you're throwing your life away. She really was like, she's like, you're throwing your life away. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, how? She's like, why would you do this before you get married? And I'm like, well, us being married isn't gonna change anything, you know what I mean? It's just a piece of paper, but it's really not gonna really change anything. And if we get married, we get married. But my dad was excited. My dad was happy. Kristen's family, like as I expected, was all super supportive and so happy. And we tried to tell as many of them in person as we could, but he has a really big family. So it was kind of hard to tell everybody. So there was a few different people who they did not find out until after I posted it on social media. And his dad was upset about that. But I was like, you know, there's so many people in your family. I felt bad, but at the same time, you can't please everyone, you know? And I'm so excited about this pregnancy and I wanted to talk about it so badly that it was killing me. Like it was killing me not to be able to make a YouTube video or not be able to post pictures, or it was killing me, especially because you really, and this is something that I have learned, you really do not look pregnant. Well, for me, and I guess your first baby, sometimes people don't look pregnant at all. I don't know. But for me, I did not look pregnant at all until like last week. Like literally everyone at school was like, how is it that you had a flat stomach a week ago and now you have a baby bump? It was like, for me, until I was 5 months, you really could, like I was wearing a bikini and nobody could tell. And then the next week I was wearing a dress and literally 1 week later, it would not zip up. For me, it was like really at 5 months, everybody could tell. Like so after we had found out, we had gone to, and a lot of Chris's friends knew that we were trying to have a baby. Like we went to this party and I was like drinking wine one night and all these people were, this was before like I knew I was pregnant, all these people were like, oh my God, like, so how's like trying to have a baby? And I'm like, good. I'm like, but you know, it hasn't happened yet. And I was drinking wine. And then I saw these people like less than a month later, and you know, when we were telling them that we were pregnant, they were like, oh my God, like, you know, your stomach was completely flat. And I'm like, I know, like it just really happened overnight. And if you look at a fetus from 20 weeks to 22 weeks, it just gets so much bigger. So the baby really got bigger. Yeah, and I like did not have an appetite. That's another thing, is like you would think like you would have weight gain and then your appetite would be different. I did not have an appetite. I literally would go to school, have a protein bar. I did not have a big appetite. Like I really was not eating more. Now I am. Like I went for breakfast at Whole Foods and got $45 worth of snacks for the day at school. Like now I'm really eating. Like last night I had like a huge thing of pasta that would have taken me 3 meals, and I had a big thing of cheesecake and I had a big thing of cookies. Like now I'm really craving food, and now I'm like eating a lot. But I wasn't craving food. I really wasn't, so I didn't look any different. But as soon as we were like, okay, we know how far along we are, we have to start telling people, because this is like, I'm gonna look pregnant too, you know? So yeah, so we told people, and then I posted it on my socials, and everybody was so supportive, which I was so happy about. Yeah, so that's my story of how I found out I was pregnant, and I could not be happier, yay! I am going to post this video, clearly, hey. I'm also going to film a few Q&As. So the Q&As will be up soon. I mean, very soon, within the next, I don't know, few days or so. I get out of school September 18th. That's when I graduate. So after I graduate school, I will have so much more time to vlog, and I feel like the seat almost just broke. To vlog and to post more and keep you guys updated. But for right now, I am in school. I have another month. It's another 32 days, including like weekends and stuff, but it's really only another 18 days of actual school. So when I'm done with school, I will be able to post a lot more, but until then, I'm just super busy with everything. So if you guys have any questions, you can write them below, and I will try to answer those in the Q&A as well. All right, thank you guys so much, and I'm so excited, and I'm so happy that you get to be with me on my journey. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.